Welcome to a special episode of the Schelling Point. This is soon Christmas. We're in December, in case you can't tell by the sweater and the decoration. First, I want to thank you all for being with us, being loyal subscriber of the Schelling Point. When we started, we had 0 subscribers. Now we have 201 subscribers. And with that, we decided, hey, maybe it's time to do another episode where just us talking about the Schelling Point and our experience so far. To make it more interesting, we've actually decided to write 10 questions that we put in this box, as you can see.
The box of doom.
The box of doom, exactly. And we're going to pick it randomly from this box. And the person who's picking the question will ask the question to the other person. He has to answer. If he doesn't want to answer, shots. We have Macallan, not sponsored, here. And then if the other person will also want to answer the question, because it's a good question, you can also take the chance to answer the question. So why don't we start? And let's see how we go. Zach, your turn.
You ready?
Yeah, go first.
I got some really spicy questions.
Okay.
Okay, let's see what we get. Oh, this is a good one. How much
It's
time?
your question.
I did write this. How much time do you really spend on the Schelling Point?
Okay. So I guess there's two answers. One answer is actual time, the Schelling Point. I think it's actually not as much as most people think. I think probably 20 to 30%. Which is a lot, considering that that's not my main job, right? But I think in reality, probably the time I spend on Schelling Point is far greater than this, because a lot of time, my mind is actually thinking about some of the things we can do for the episode. And sometimes when I have a random meeting with a new partner, it's like, oh, that could be a great episode for Schelling Point. And sometimes when I browse Twitter, when I'm on YouTube, it feels like my mind always trying to think about, oh, what the listener can learn from this to what we're doing. So I think actuality probably 30%, but I think probably more. And then also people randomly will WhatsApp me, message me, hey, I watched this episode. And suddenly I start talking about the Schelling Point with some of the contact on WhatsApp. So yeah, so I think I spent far too much time. This is year one. I think year two probably spend less time on it. But I think now we also learn how to work better on this, right?
Fair enough.
How about you? You want to answer that question or you don't want to answer it?
I think in reality is closer to 90% if you
That's
like.
for you.
But yeah, it's been a really fun journey. Just getting to know people in the industry, discussing these ideas. But the main thing is really on the editing, making sure Bertrand doesn't speak too much on the podcast.
Okay. Leave some answer for the questions. Okay. Let's go. Next, my turn. 2026 KPIs.
I feel like you should do it.
That's for me.
That's for you as well.
That's the boss. Okay. So because everybody else who are doing product, GSBN or API or anything has KPIs, right? And it seems like me and Zach, we're just in this room, locked in this room, having fun doing podcasts, so we have 0 KPIs.
And drinking.
And drinking whiskey, which is not the best. So I think now, if we have to pick KPI, I'm thinking one thing we could do is this year, just before recording, we actually checked how many hours viewed. And I actually really surprised. More than 800 hours viewed. So with 20 episodes. So that actually is really, really good. So maybe the KPIs for end of 2026 is more than, let's say, 10x this. So 8,000 views, 8,000 hours views. I think it's a tall order. I'm not sure we're going to get it. But hopefully you guys watching this will support us and watch more of the videos. The more you watch, the better it is for us. But yeah, that could be a KPI for next year.
So 8,000 for context is roughly
a
year's worth.
A year's
worth of hours.
365 days effective watching YouTube. So yeah.
So for the audience, if you want to help me out, help us out to keep the production going, then you know what to do. Is it my turn?
Yeah, your turn.
So the question is, does the Schelling Point help with your day job?
So I guess that's for me or for you? It's more for you, actually. But anyway, I'll go first.
Sure.
Yes, I think it helps massively. The main reason it helps is a lot of time I'll be talking to our partners and then thinking about how what he says applies to the podcast. Why does it help is because the thing that we're trying to do, we try to understand a lot of things that happen in different sector, right? So being legal, being terminal operation, being shipping line operation, being documentation, being banks. And the way to connect all this is you need to be really thinking across all the different dimensions. So one example is because of Schelling Point, because always thinking about how do I try to learn new things, I think the most interesting conversation we're having with the lawyers, for instance, right? So I think I wrote a LinkedIn post where I say I feel like I'm a maritime lawyer now because I talk so much, ask so many questions. And actually, because I guess doing the podcast trained me to be better at asking questions and listen, because usually I talk a lot,
Yep.
and instead of me talking, just listen. That I think is coming from the podcast. How about you?
I mean, I joined as a product person, and at first, to me, it's just like every single other product, right? You need to understand how your partners work, how your audience work. But then ever since we started the Schelling Point, it made me have a better connection with the because I always think about shipping as like this big block of unknown. There are so many different parties that are trying to make things happen, especially when we talk about EBL, right? This is a transformation. This is a digitalization of the industry. This is a massive problem. But by doing the Schelling Point, we had a chance to talk to people from legal, people in decarbonization, and even people driving change on a day-to-day basis. So that really gave me a connection that like the things that we're doing here is actually meaningful, and we're making a real contribution, even though step by step, but we are making a contribution overall to the industry. So I think that's, to me, is the biggest value and the biggest takeaway for the last 6 months. So yeah, does it help with my day job? Yes. Especially
to
to some degree, this is basically my day job now.
Okay, it's my turn.
Yeah.
Hey, Zach in the editing room here. I realize that 76.8% of you have not yet subscribed to the Schelling Point. If you could just hit the subscribe button down below, it will really help us out and keep producing content like this. Thank you. Now back to the Schelling Point.
Biggest fuck up. Okay, so I think this one's for
I
you.
feel like I should go.
Go first.
So earlier this year we had a chance to go to a very exotic place, and possibly my second chance to step foot in Africa, which I had
West Africa,
which I had a very great experience going for the first time.
Which was the city would you go last time?
First time was Nigeria.
Nigeria. Okay.
Nigeria.
So this time is Senegal.
This time is Senegal.
Yeah.
So my biggest mistake was sending my passport to get it chopped, get it stamped in Guangzhou, and it never made it back. So
it's in the back, right?
So as of this moment, when we're filming this, my passport is still somewhere in Guangzhou, sitting in someone else's office. So all the Christmas plans, January plans, birthday leaves are all gone because of this passport issue. But yeah, it's an interesting story. I mean, you guys went on a very good flight, apparently.
Yeah. That was a great trip. We missed you. We recorded some
Did you
episodes there. No, we didn't miss you. We didn't miss you.
Oh, I did get messages on WhatsApp. Can you arrange this? Can you send this email?
Yes. Your support function back at head office. Okay. Nah. Any other fuck up besides this one?
There are plenty.
Okay.
Maybe we should release a blooper video of everything that
Didn't go
happened
right.
on camera. Didn't go right.
So for me, I think the biggest fuck up is probably I won't say this. Okay. I don't think there was a major. Okay, it's nice because I say there's no major fuck up, but I feel my biggest fuck up is probably as a host. When the first time I started to watch the video, I realized a couple of things. Number one, I talk so much. And now the solution is I still talk so much, but Zach just cut it out the editing room. Just like the episode is 2 hours, but it's only 1 hour because he cut off everything I say. The second thing is the French accent, which keeps throwing off the AI from Riverside for the software we use to record, who keeps like converting what I say to completely other things.
Correct.
So the most interesting one is the episode on the crypto where I say
It was with Jason, no?
it was with
Jason,
Jason from OKEX, and I say essentially talking about how to use public blockchain to power real business because you may have congestion, and I was referring to this phenomenon called crypto kitties, but the subtitle says crypto titties. So the AI with my French accent just doesn't really work well. And maybe after episode 6 or 7, we stopped doing subtitle, and that's the main reason. Because I think Zach was spending maybe 50% of your time just fixing the AI. I was like, nobody reads this subtitle. Let's just go, just remove subtitles. Okay. Oh, that's a good one. Favorite episode and why?
So for all the episodes, I think each of them tells a very unique story, and I learned a bit.
Don't cop out. Give me the favorite story now.
Okay, so one episode stands particularly stark in my mind, and that is the first time we did an off-site shoot.
Okay.
And that is Singapore.
Okay.
So we did a shoot with the Sui Network, which is at the knee. So when at the time of recording, I think I barely understood like 30% of the content that was being discussed. But then that episode allowed me to think a bit broader as to how, blockchain infrastructure, even though it seems like an unrelated topic to GSBN, there is actually a subtle connection between there, which is infrastructure. How do we create a platform? How do we allow our partners to better make use of our resources. And I didn't forget about my passport, so that was great.
So my favorite episode is the episode with Professor Lin Lu. It was actually quite long. I think it was 2 hours. I think it did down to only 1 hour 30 minutes. The reason I liked it the most compared to all the episodes we've done, even the unreleased one, is because it was actually an episode where I felt I really learned a lot of things, because it was a really fast-paced conversation, and Lin's a good friend, so when we chat, it's more like a banter than really an interview, so very relaxed. And actually, we kind of went wherever the direction the conversation brought, which in the end, when I rewatched the episode, I was like, actually, we talked about so many interesting subjects. And it's a shame that the IMO vote didn't go the way the direction it wants. But I really think decarbonization is number one, a subject that's very interesting. And when you talk to people who are number one experts, who know what they're talking about, and who are passionate about it, I feel you can take it from the episode. You learn really a lot of things. And also for a long time, I think her episode was the one that was the most successful.
Just to bring it back to decarb, I think Harris talking about general average is also something that I still remember today. Like how the whole mechanism works. We take the risk, average it out so that everyone has a part in the mutual insurance. I think that's also super interesting.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I really want the Schelling Point to be about is there's a lot of concepts people don't understand where it's coming from, but if you talk to the expert and they tell you a story, actually a lot of things make sense, right? If you want to understand where does it come from and why it's happening this way. So I think that's if you learn that, I'm happy. Not just the audience, but at least you learn it also.
All right.
How many questions we have left?
Still plenty.
Okay.
I think this is for you. 2026, what's the plan?
So couple of things, right? When we first started to shoot the Schelling Point, didn't have a clear idea what we want. So throughout shooting the episode and interviewing the guests and editing, and also learning, as Zach said, about the YouTube algorithm, we realized a couple of things, right? So one thing we realized is maybe the longest episode, like 3 hours, even though I think it's interesting, maybe the algorithm is not going to treat it very well and nobody will watch it. So first is maybe we'll shorten the format a little bit. The second thing, I think we want to do more shorts. At one point we did more shorts, but then because we just have so many new episodes coming in, we did less of it. But I think the shorts highlight the key moments in the episode. That's something that we want to do. And another thing that we want to try is to have more thematic theme series, right? So there's one thing, instead of just randomly jumping from legal to blockchain to decarb to operation for shipping line to EBL, wherever, if we can stay in one theme and give episodes around the same subject. So to give you a sense, so some episodes we just did in mainland China, in Shanghai, even some of the interview in Chinese. So so this one, I think for editing is going to be slightly a challenge. We've still figure out we're going to display that. I also did the episode in Senegal, the one you missed, in French, with some of the local folks there. So the idea is maybe we're going to come up with more themes and try to not just randomly do episodes with the guests who want to talk to us, but more intentional and want to tell a story, and we're gonna go talk to X number of people and to tell that. So I think that's one big theme that hopefully you guys will enjoy. Anything you want to add?
I'm super excited about the Chinese series. So right now it's December. I think we have already started preparing for it. Try to get it out in
Q1
2026. The main rationale why we're doing this is number one, 2025 has been a critical year for China. Tariff, DeepSeek moment. The narrative on China seems to have evolved quite drastically over the last year. And I think from a global trade perspective, that's very interesting to look at.
Yeah, just to add a double click on the China, why actually China is interesting. I think just to echo to what Zach said is, it's very clear that this tariff war over the last 12 months, a couple of things has happened in the world, right? So a lot of people start to wake up that actually the world has changed somewhat. And the biggest story, I think this one country that's sort of misunderstood is China. And not only DeepSeek, I think the EV, all the new technology, the robots, there's just so many news that's happening in China, and we're quite fortunate to be able to travel to Shanghai to deal with some of the stakeholders that we have for the project that we're doing. That why don't we take this advantage and some access that we have to actually bring back some video. And the one thing that really triggered us to say we should do it is, if you have influencer like I Show Speed going to Shanghai to shoot some random video, or Dana White shooting video of robots fighting, like we can definitely help tell a more interesting story of what's happening on the ground. So I think that's really the motivation. Is it feels like there's a very interesting story that needs to be told that actually is not being told as effectively. So if you have any, if this strike a fancy, you say, "Oh, that's actually quite a good idea. I want to see more of this." Please leave a comment, and then some idea that you may have, and we'll make sure that we can get a within reason. Okay, let's see.
We got how many more? One more.
One more. Okay, so this one's
Second last one.
Second last one. Okay, how the Schelling Point evolved over the last 3 months.
I think in terms of workflow and thought processes, we have become a bit more mature. But I think this is still not the end state. There is still a lot we can do. And personally, I think we should do a lot more in how we market our content to a wider audience. We have a very good base of shipping people, finance people who are watching our show. But I would like to get this knowledge out to more people. I mean, we always use the example in your intro, right? You never thought having that Amazon package at your front door is such a complicated process behind. And just taking the time to appreciate the legal that went into it, the tech that went into it, is appreciation and new perspective to how this whole thing works. So yeah, I think next year will be quite an interesting year, especially with new formats.
KPIs. Don't forget the
And the
KPIs.
and the 8,000 hours KPI. So hopefully, next year when we do this recap, we can hopefully achieve everything that we set out to do.
So for me, the way the Schelling Point evolved, I think when it first started, if you watch the first episode, the one we did, I think it was really amateur hours. To be honest, I still remember one of the feedback from, I think it was from Mark Levinson, right? We said that, yeah, you're editing, but it looked very jittery because the editing was so...
The first time we got negative feedback.
it was very jagged. And I was like, what happened to the editing? So anyway, apologies to Mark. I know it was really amateur as we were just learning by doing. Hopefully, I think the episode now are getting higher production quality with help from Sam. My favorite thing in the episode right now, I think there's 2 times in the episode where I think I really enjoy. One is doing the recording, because actually talking to the guest, I really enjoy asking the question and reacting to what they say. And that, to me, actually, I learned quite a lot doing that. And the second part I really like is the post-production. After the episode is shot, like 3 months later, when we forget completely what we discussed, Zach's the first one to do the editing. Then we go together in the room and say, how do we help tell the story? Because part of creating good episode, in my opinion now, is actually to prune, get rid of things, and to go to the core what the story is. And if you want to attract people to watch, convince people to watch, is the thumbnail. I think Zach, you became a master of thumbnail. To some degree, I think, it's a bit too, the style is a bit too strong these days sometimes. The title, I always have to fight with Zach to not go for the most clickbaity title. I won't name which episode, but sometimes he say something destroy the shipping industry. I say you can't say that. People will click on the link, but that's very bad for the guest. You cannot say that. And then I think for me the thing that I enjoy the most right now is really working with Sam and with Zach on the intro. So I'm sure you've noticed that our intro is very different than normal intro. We start with some codes, and then we go to how do we introduce this concept and use movie reference. And I guess I have certain movie reference, Sam has movie reference, and Zach has more meme reference of the TikTok. And somehow we combine the 3, that's actually really a group effort, and I think it's really interesting. And sometimes I almost feel like the first 1 minute and a half is like 20% of the work product, because we try to really condense the story, why this is something that's worth your time to watch, right? Why this is interesting. And that actually takes a lot of time to think and to try to condense the story. So that's my take on how the Schelling Point has evolved.
I think that's also one of the things that take up most of my weekend times now. Like, as in, once we have gone through a list of movies reference that I've never heard of, and then it come highly recommended from the 2 of you, I'm like, I have to go watch it. And then my list of movies right now is like...
What's the best movie that we recommended you watched?
That's a good question, I think. Oh, the trader thing. What is it called? The swap? Trading Places.
Eggnog.
This movie is the foundation movie for a lot of the traders before 2008, I would say. After 2008 is you have a Margin Call, The Big Short. I don't personally don't like that much The Big Short, but I think the Margin Call is really and before that was the Trading Place. Trading Place is the classic. Everybody on the trading floor knows about this movie.
All right, last one. Best for the last. Who's your dream guest?
So first off, I'm gonna hedge myself. Every guest has been a great guest. Everyone actually has been interesting. But if you have to force me to pick one, right now, based on the guests I talked to and what my mind's at, I think the most interesting guest will be someone who leads a large shipping line, because I think there's so many CEOs talking about what they do in the other industry, but the shipping line is an industry that's really tough, really challenging, a lot of things happening, and they typically very publicity shy. So doing an interview with a CEO of a shipping line, I think that would be super interesting, because there's so many things behind the scene that's happening, and they may not want to share publicly, by the way. And among all those CEO or leader of shipping line, I think there's one that stands really bigger, and I think that will be the chairman of MSC, Captain Aponte, Gianluca Aponte, because I think it's truly interesting how MSC managed to build from a one small ship to the fleet, the number one shipping line fleet they have today, right? And I'm not that interested in how they negotiated the deal and things like that, but more like what drives someone to do this, right? And then this industry has changed so much. And the next 10, 20 years, I think it's going to be even more exciting, more interesting, right? So the last 10 years, I think has been bumpy, interesting, but the next 10 years, it's going to be even more interesting. So I'll be really, really keen to interview him and to understand, hey, how he's thinking about why they become number one shipping line, why they just keep buying ships. We've talked to people who say this is crazy, this is wrong. I'm really interested to hear, like, from the horse mouth, like, how do you think about this? Obviously, maybe he wants an interview, or he won't even agree to be recorded that people can watch.
Let's say, I'll have a question for you.
Okay.
Let's say if you have a chance, Captain Appointe is right in front of you, you can have a closed door conversation, not recorded.
Yeah.
What is the one question you will ask him?
I think the one question I would ask him is, he's a certain age, right? He's quite old. How does he think about planning for his legacy? So when he's not around anymore, how he wants MSC to be run, how he wants MSC to evolve when he's not here with us anymore. Because that's the legacy planning. I think that's something that would be super interesting for me to know, because he has achieved a lot. But I think the harder thing to achieve is once you're not there anymore, that the people who are left behind you, and which I think the specific MSC, as I got to know them more throughout the years interacting with them, is really for me more like a family rather than the corporation. And therefore, in his mind, how does he plan for that? That transition is probably one of the biggest challenges, also the most interesting thing. So what's his thought on this? That would be the question I'll ask. Okay, so I think we've done all this. Oh, yeah. So as we explained, right, the rest of the team, especially some senior people within the team in the suit, is not really, I won't say on board. I think they're on board, but things that we may actually spend too much time on the Schelling Point, which point taken. And essentially, we've asked them, okay, since you have a chance also, it's not just me and Zach asking us questions, you can give us 3 questions and vote the question that you really want to answer. And we swear to answer the question, but also you have to watch the episode, right? Yeah, not everyone in the team watched the episode, so that gives them a reason to watch the episode. So
That's
please,
part of getting the 8,000
yeah.
hours, no? I think I know who this is from. First question. Are you worried that people would think we are more of a PR firm than a blockchain consortium?
That's a pretty good question. That's also a worry the person that I have, that people get confused. I think I've spoken to one of the person at one shipping line, I know her quite well now, who basically told me, hey, and that was before we started the podcast. It's like, hey, on marketing, you're all over the place. There's a comment, you do too much, because I think I was doing press release, I was going to conference, I was doing so many random things, and then there was no cohesion. I took that remark to heart. Marketing is probably one of the weakest points that we have, but then there's no cohesive message. What are we trying to do? What are we about? At the same time, also identify that this lack I explained before, which is communication in this industry and in this current world that we live in, where everything is short form video and nobody has the patience to read a press release or to know about the company, then there's opportunity. So for me, a blockchain consortium or media company, it's all different functionality of what GSBN is trying to be, right? We're trying to be, actually to be the Schelling Point, to be a place where everybody will meet who wants to transform the industry. And being that person being from China, from Europe, from US, from Africa, from Latin America, basically we need everybody to work together to achieve this. And the only way to do that is actually to communicate, to learn, and to talk to people. And today we have this extraordinary technology with AI tool, with recording, we can do Zoom call, we can actually do all this. And if you do the efforts, if you record this video and you edit them and you put them on YouTube, people can rewatch it. And my hope really is more people can watch this video that we did and learn from them and get appreciation for this industry. So yes, we are sort of becoming more PR to some degree, but I think it's part of the mission of GSBN, which is to help the industry digitize. So I don't see that as a contradictory thing.
So essentially, the PR function is a part of running
I
a
think
blockchain
every
business.
single company who's trying to do something big to some degree needs to have a manifesto and communicate clearly so that people can rally around. My observation, again, I don't want to offend anyone in the industry, is this industry has really remarkable people, very smart people doing interesting things. But this industry is terrible at telling the story. And the only time you hear about the industry is when something goes wrong. Right,
When there's
which
fire.
is really that drive me crazy because there's so many interesting stories, so many interesting things that people are doing, to some degree more interesting than some guy running some AI model to print some token, right? But if you're not good at telling your story, then people who are better at telling the story will monopolize the attention.
Okay. Second question: is it your childhood dream to be a key opinion leader,
KOL?
KOL, like an influencer?
Well, I didn't. When I grew up, there was no YouTube. Okay, so I didn't want to be a YouTuber. Okay, so story I haven't told many people, but actually when I was younger, I was born in China, I grew up in Shanghai, and there was one phase where my mom actually entered me in many of those competition where you have
What
to.
kind of competition?
So basically, it's sometimes they shoot movies like
Okay.
TV, and then it's sort of audition. But the goal is you go and tell the story in front of a bunch of. It's a bit like American Got Talent.
Okay.
When I was a kid, I would like to tell stories, and I was also not shy at all. I can go in front of adults and tell stories, but didn't work at all. I crash and burn. So I know where the question is coming from. Yes, I'm not shy. Yes, I like to talk, but at the same time. I like to think I'm not as egotistical to think that my opinion matters the most. I want everybody to know my opinion. And the thing I've learned the most doing this project right now is really spending more time to listen to what the other people have to share. And I think that's interesting. Actually, I don't really want to be known as a key opinion leader in the industry because I think so many people who are more deserving, who knows really things. What I would like to be known as someone who knows actually a lot about very different subjects. I think that actually has special value when you know about legal, you know about technology, you know about business, you know about operation. That I think is kind of the goal I have. I don't want to be known as the person who knows the best about one subject. Now, that being said, it seems today, because of my communication style or things or the PR, it looks like I'm the KOL for EBL. And I'm the first one to say I actually don't know everything about EBL. But just because I'm bombarding LinkedIn, it just creates this impression. But that's not my goal. Actually don't want to be pigeonholed to just know EBL. I think the industry as a whole does a lot of interesting things. And I don't want to be known as a KOL.
Okay. I think that's a pretty good answer. All right, last one. So the question is, if the Schelling Point does not achieve... By the way, from this question, I can sense there's some anger as well, which is very scary. Okay, so the question is, if the Schelling
We're
Point...
fine. We're a very cohesive team. We work well together. Okay, there's no...
If the Schelling Point does not achieve some key target, say 1,000 subscribers, certain hours of views by the end of 2026, are you going to kill the podcast?
That's a tough question. Okay, the reason it's tough is because as a CEO of GSBN, I'm going to say no. We're not going to kill it. I'll do whatever I want. But at the same time, to be fair to the team, this year we actually, when we're doing our budget and we're looking at the product, the thing we want to build, because we want to build everything. And I was probably the harsher, saying no. I need to understand what's the ROI. If it doesn't achieve the ROI, you have to consider to be willing to kill a product. And when you make those decision prioritization is never about shutting down something that you don't think is a good idea, right? If you prioritize, you have to shut down something you think is a good idea, but you don't have the bandwidth to do it. That's real prioritization. Saying no to something you know clearly is a bad idea, it's not prioritization. So with that in mind, I think it's a very fair question, right? So if by the end of 2026, we haven't achieved some of the KPI, but it's true that if, let's say, we spend so much time and there's like 10 viewers, or 20 viewers, or even 50 viewers per episode, and we struggle to get guests on, or we get guests that we wouldn't normally want to talk to just to have something to record, yes, definitely, I think something to consider to shut down. At the same time, I think the question is also missing a point, which is I actually think by the end of 2026, the Schelling Point would have changed so much that it may not be a decision to kill or not kill. I'm pretty sure the Schelling Point is a good idea, but more what's the form it will take. Maybe it's shorter form, Maybe it's something where we go to events and talk to people. Maybe we can even organize a live Schelling Point event with guests that was on the event, with people who care about it. So I just see this evolving over time. And I think the space of innovation here is unlimited, right? It's really, what does our audience want? And to the extent that we can do it and then match the goal of GSBN, I think we'll definitely try to accommodate that. So I don't see it as, yes, you have Schelling Point or you don't have Schelling Point, but more, if the form that we're doing today is not working, what we would do to pivot, to change, to make sure that we achieve a goal. And in the end, if we change and it still doesn't achieve the goal, then yeah, I think it's very legitimate to shut down. You're nervous. You're very nervous. You're very nervous. Don't worry. 2020, we'll shut down 2026.
I think to summarize what you said, I think there are two things that are quite important. Number one is we are really trying to create a platform for people to come here to learn. It's not just like something that we say in the tagline. Is every single episode when we create a story.
No, but, and we had people messaging us. And some people just say, hey, this is really the best conversation they had since TPM. And by the way, we're going back to TPM. Shout out. Yeah, I think that's very gratifying when you have some people who knows a lot about industry. They say, hey, actually, I learned quite a lot from your episode. Yeah. If it's just coming from some people who doesn't know anything and tell us, I don't put too much weight to that. But if someone knows the industry and say, hey, actually, I learned quite a lot, that's actually really gratifying. Yeah.
So I guess we'll look forward to how the Schelling Point will evolve in 2026.
Yep.
And if you want to keep the show alive, you know what to do.
Please subscribe, like, comment, share.
I think this is the most KOL part of your of the entire podcast.
And if you're in any episode you want to do, any guest you want us to invite, please share in the comments. And then, yeah, very excited. I think January 2026. Well, maybe not January, but
Q1.
Early Q1 will have a lot of new exciting content. Please follow, please watch out for the Chinese content. I think that's going to be really interesting. It's just to whet your appetite is in this bonded warehouse.
No,
Okay.
What I just have to say, it's probably one of the most exciting shoot we had so far.
That's the trailer, the teaser. And I guess we should end with Merry Christmas,
Merry
Happy
Christmas,
New Year.
and we'll see you in 2026.
Yeah. Bye.